What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook live show. Today, we are taking a look at the DraftKings 9-game main slate. Our guy Grande here was on the DFS Playbook for today, so you can check that out over on Fantasy Alarm. Of course, we did the preview show last night, had that posted up for all of you to get our first looks, our first takes here on this main slate. I have all my pick'ems articles out there for underdog, prize picks, and sleepers, so you can check those out as we get ready to hopefully, definitely make some money here on tonight's MLB slate. Sir Grande, my friend, buddy, how we doing?
Well, I asked my wife if it was Friday today.
No.
So
It is
yeah,
Monday. You're quite a few days away.
Pretty terrible realization about halfway through my day. So that's where I stand currently on this Monday.
Yeah, not Friday.
Not Friday. Definitely not Friday, which is a very unfortunate, again, realization.
Sure.
So it's a fun slate. A little bit of weather concerns. No Tobias Harris on the slate. Although my playbook did indicate there was a Tobias Harris on the slate.
Right.
There's a Tobias, not a Harris.
Correct.
But it's a fun slate. Little mixture of like solid pitching. I'm happy that we don't have any, like, at least on DraftKings, crazy pricing of pitching, because then your ultimatum is just like you're either punting pitching or not playing cores. And on this slate, you can get a mixture of both. So I do like that quite a bit.
We appreciate you all tuning in. If you haven't already, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button over on X, over on YouTube. It's certainly appreciated. If you have any comments, want to throw those into the chat, James and I are here to help you guys out with your lineup and betting questions here for the evening. If you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, now, of course, is the best time to do so. We have our Let's Go promo still active. Your first month for less than $20. Go to fantasyalarm.com/win, promo code Let's Go. That gives you access to all the content we have on site, including our fantasy football draft guide and cheat sheet. Part of that package, you also get access to our premium Discord, where myself, Grande, Kobe Conway, Howard Bender, Andrew Cooper, Matt Sells, Dan Malin, the whole team in there answering your questions live throughout the day to help you guys out with whatever you're doing in the fantasy sports world. So check us out. $20, less than $20 for that first month. fantasyalarm.com/win, promo code Let's Go. And let's go into pitching here tonight. Cole Ragans and Reynaldo Lopez are $9,000 as your top two price starters. When we broke it down this morning, we didn't certainly mind the matchup for Cole Ragans, but we keyed in more on an 8K pitcher. You did the playbook today. Where are you going when it comes to starting pitching today?
Yeah, I mean, I have no problems getting to Cole Ragans if that's where your lineup construction takes you. I think first and foremost, we were kind of saying, like, well, these last two slates where Cole Ragans was 82 and 85, that was too cheap. That still holds true at $9,000. Like, Cole Ragans is still too cheap, despite being $800 more than he was two slates ago, or two starts ago, and $500 more than he's still too cheap, realistically. Like, this isn't the best park for pitching. It's a big outfield. It allows a lot of offense for extra bases and stuff, but
when it's a warm night, the ball tends to travel.
Yeah, the ball travels in Kansas City, but like, Ragans also doesn't allow a lot of home runs, just 8 home runs in 20 starts. He is obviously an elite strikeout pitcher, 29% strikeout rate on the year. So, like, I have absolutely no problem paying up to get to Cole Ragans. It's just, like, again, you mentioned there's elite 8K tier pitching. I do think you'll get Ragans lesser owned than some of these guys in the 8K tier. I think that's a way to approach the slate, but it's also going to just depend on what you want for the rest of your lineups, right? Because, like, if it's Ragans versus Bryce Miller or Ragans versus Hunter Green, that $600 to $800 savings could get you Rafael Devers, could get you Jarren Duran, could get you insert your expensive Red Sox here. So I think it all depends on your roster construction and how comfortable you are. I think there's a lot of really good value today that you could play Ragans plus Boston plus something else. but it all depends on the roster construction because like the field to me is going to go to Bryce Miller and it's going to go to Hunter Green. I think that's your cash pairing of the day. I think that's largely your GPP pairing of the day.
Miller is currently the highest projected rostered starting pitcher on the slate. So
that's like the least surprising thing you might have said, other than like you don't wear socks in your shoes.
Well, I mean, water shoes. Yes, I wear socks on regular shoes. Don't wear socks with boat shoes. Are you wear like a boat shoe guy?
Never. I don't think I've ever owned.
You don't own a pair of Sperry's?
No, I've never owned a pair of Sperry's.
Ah, missing out, man. Comfortable shoes. Anyways, Miller's the top rostered starting pitcher on this slate here, and Hunter Green is your number 2, only by a percentage point. If you go check out my underdog prize picks and sleeper articles today, I'm in on Hunter Green and Bryce Miller there as well. Took their strikeout props, and all three took the spicy props over an underdog for both today. So we're getting a boosted payout because they got a promo going on over there today with Shohei Ohtani. So you have a little opportunity to gain a little extra payout there, 10x with today's underdog article. So make sure you go check that out on Fantasy Alarm. But Hunter Green, I took the over 7.5 strikeouts. His general line is sitting at 6.5 strikeouts here. And we talked a lot about how poorly Atlanta's done against right-handed pitching. They're the 4th highest strikeout rate in baseball against right-handed pitching. So the way Hunter Green is in pitching right now and the matchup and everything, and the weather doesn't seem like it's going to be that big of an impact on this game. At least at last look there. I'm definitely liking some Hunter Green.
Yeah. It's just hard not to look at this version of Atlanta, and as it continues to get worse, right? Like
no Ozzy Albies now, right? Like
so, and I know like maybe long term Nacho is better against right-handed pitching than Albies is, but I've had a hard time not getting to Hunter Green. I mean, you mentioned it, like the walks are the one thing that can derail Hunter Green from time to time, right? That is like the one thing. Atlanta 25th in walk rate against right-handed pitching this year. They don't walk either. Like it's not like this is a team that, well, they're struggling in this category, but they make it up in this. Right. No, they don't walk. So they have a high striker rate against righties. They don't walk at all. And they're bottom 10 in basically every offensive category against righties. So I love Hunter Green 82. The Bryce Miller splits this year are absolutely absurd. I did a little bit more of a dive on that than the pre-show. So the ERA is what it is, 3.4 runs higher on the road for Bryce Miller. His batting average is 70 points higher allowed on the road. His strikeout rate on the road is 13%. His strikeout rate at home, John, 31%.
Yeah.
The home runs for Bryce Miller on the road, over 2 home runs per 9 innings. At home, 0.6 home runs per 9 innings. Like, it just, like, this is stuff that doesn't make sense. Like, I understand it's a great pitching environment. I understand the ball dies in Seattle. I understand, like, all these things. You see it time and time again. Look at every pitcher on Seattle staff.
I was going to say, we've been touting home stats for them the whole season with, like, Luis Castillo. I came out and said it. My favorite bet of the day, if you're looking for some plus money odds over DraftKings Sportsbook, Bryce Miller strikeout prop, 5.5 strikeouts is at plus 130. In his 10 home starts this year, he's gone over that total 9 times. He has a K per 9 like of 11 at home. He just, I don't know what it is. He's faced the Angels already this season at home. He had 9 strikeouts in that game. Again, sometimes home road splits are weird, and you wouldn't think strikeouts in particular would matter home to road. Maybe hitters can't see the backstop, right? The backdrop, right? And they can't pick up the ball out of his hand, given his arm slot or what. But in 9 of his 10 home starts, he's gone over 5.5 strikeouts, and you're getting that at plus 130. So I took it. I took the plus 130 odds over on DraftKings Sportsbook. I took the spicy play over on Underdog Fantasy and all that stuff for the boosted payout today. I'm in on the Miller strikeouts here, over 5.5 with the odds there. Tanner Houck obviously also getting some love. If you go look at projections, he's one of the highest projected pitcher in terms of points here tonight. Struggled a little bit against the Yankees and the Padres, and went out and dominated Oakland, as most teams haven't been doing lately. So that's, maybe a good sign for Tanner Houck. Are you worried about Coors Field with Tanner Houck? Because he's another solid 8K range pitcher here.
Didn't he, I want to say he got hurt in that Yankee start, didn't he? It was the rain delay. He had the rain delay.
Yeah. But he also wasn't pitching well. 4 walks, 3 runs. Like, it just wasn't a good outing for him.
I mean, look, I think that there's merit to playing pitchers against the Rockies home or away. For what it's worth, the Rockies have been better, and I think that's in large part due to Ezekiel Tovar being as good as he's been. It has something to do with Michael Toglia hitting 3 home runs in a game. Like, there's a lot. Brent Doyle has been obviously amazing lately, and just in Coors Field in general. It's all going to come down to if Houck's off-speed stuff is allowing him ground balls, because the one time he didn't get ground balls, well, he allowed 3 home runs in a game, and that was like the only time this year that like Tanner Houck has allowed any power in any situation. So if the thick air gives him trouble, then I see him struggling. But we played Seth Lugo in this spot. We played Cole Reagans in this spot. Right. We've played insert that pitcher. Colorado's offense, let's just face it, is not that good. So if you want to get to Houck, I have no problem getting there. We said this about Reagans and Lugo when they were in Coors. Their price gets slashed. Tanner Houck, if you look at every start he's made since May 10th.
It's like 10K.
91, 91, 91, 91, 96, 98, 88, weird. 10-3, 10-5, 10-2, 9-6, 9-5. Last 10 starts, he's been $1,000 more than what he is tonight. So there's definitely merit to getting to Houck. Of the 8K pitchers that we mentioned, I would still rank him third, but that's not third I wouldn't play him. That's still third, still in good spot.
Agreed. Where else are we going with starting pitching? Obviously, again, we like those 3 starters. We like Cole Reagans up at the top. Was there anybody 8K and under that you'd be looking to start here tonight?
So I got 2 names. One I'll start with. We'll go further down the list because this is someone I mentioned on the show this morning. Tobias Myers, who pitched really well in the first half of the season. I think one of the probably bigger surprises across Major League Baseball with how well he's pitched.
Sure.
And the price is really what's kind of getting me here. I know the Cubs offense has been better heading into the break, but still overall in the year, bottom 10 offense and OPS and WOBA in WRC plus against right-handed pitching. Now, again, they've been better of late. There's no wind. There's no factors there. So I really like Tobias Myers at the price. Third best odds for him to win, to get a win. Not for his team to win, for him to get a win, which I find interesting. They're on the road in this game, and he is the third best odds to get a win tonight. So obviously I like that at 72. We just got Mariners lineup.
Yeah, you're both. Well, we'll talk about offense because you're good.
Well, yeah,
our guy's hitting second tonight.
He's definitely hitting second. Yeah. Also, did you see who's hitting third? I find that very interesting as well. I'm a little interested. We have touted the Tyler Anderson demise. You and I have been on the Jon Snow with his knife out when they're all charging at him. And we've been on the front lines, screaming Tyler Anderson regression. And then he makes an all-star game, and he has a 10 strikeout game mixed in.
Out of nowhere, yeah.
And he just faced Seattle at home, and they kind of hit him up a little bit. But again, the ball dies in Seattle. And there's no Julio Rodriguez, and that was what I was getting at when we talked about Seattle's lineup. J.P. Crawford, Victor Robles, Jorge Polanco in the year 2024 is your top 3 in the Seattle lineup tonight. I understand that the numbers suggest Tyler Anderson's demise is coming.
Yeah, this is not this guy. He does not have good peripheral numbers.
No, he doesn't.
again, ERA is 2.97, looks great. His expected ERA is 4.41. His FIP's 4.59. His xFIP is 5.02. His Sierra is 5.09. Horrific numbers. Maybe, and those of you who aren't sabermetric guys, all right, his K per 9 is 6.18. Terrible. His walk per 9, 3.58. Terrible. Like
all accurate.
he is as lucky as luck could be, but Seattle strikes out a lot. They're in a ballpark that doesn't give up a lot of runs. Like you said, he just pitched here and was okay. Now, no
at
decision.
Home. It was at home. It was at home in that
True. So just face them. 6 innings, no decision, 9 points, not great. But if you got to win, be like 14. Like, that lineup's not good. That lineup is not good. That is true. But Cal Raleigh could go like grand slam and it doesn't even matter, right?
So here over the last month, I find this really interesting. Seattle, if you adjust like some home and road numbers, because obviously Seattle is impossible to hit in, they have a 630 team OPS at home, which is against left-handed pitching, which is 26th in baseball. If you just remove that home split, they're 13th in OPS. They drop 13 positions going from lefties at home versus lefties in general. Yeah. Because you can't hit in that ballpark. So I'm not like sitting here saying like Tyler Anderson, my favorite play of the day, like lock and load. But I think when you just look at the lineup that Seattle is throwing out there, sans Julio, I mean, it is really not good.
It's not good.
It is not good. And I'm going to mention some Seattle bats I like because I understand Tyler Anderson also is due for some bad outings in the second half. But like there's a case for him as a contrarian play, just given what Seattle just threw out there today. And given what his ceiling has been this year and the luck that he has gotten this year.
I mean, we'll even play the sportsbook game, right? Minus 165 over 4.5 strikeouts. Minus 135 over 17 and a half outs. Those are obviously good numbers for him. That means you're looking at 6 innings, 5 strikeouts, on the over if that's to where you would go. Earned runs allowed over under 2.5 is even. It's minus 115 for both. So, it could be 2, could be 3, obviously, but they're not leaning heavily one way or the other. So, like, they're almost projecting a quality start with 5 strikeouts here, for Tyler Anderson, if you were to just kind of look at the Vegas numbers, in this matchup. Again, he's not a good pitcher.
I'm with you.
There are enough guys that have outpitched their sabermetrics over the years where every start you and I are like, this is the one. Here it is. He's going to get blown up. Here it comes. And like, it happens twice. And he ends up actually finishing with like a mid-3 and he was able to figure it out, so yeah, I'm kind of with you here. I don't know if I actually find myself getting to it, but because Myers is much cheaper and it's only a couple more $100 to get to Green or Miller here. But if you're making 20 lineups, Tyler Anderson probably makes a lot of sense. Our guy Mark wants to know our thoughts on Michael Lorenzen. We've talked a lot about his extreme splits this year in terms of lefties versus righties. He's very good against lefties, not very good against right-handed bats here. But the White Sox are the White Sox. They don't have a ton of lefties in their lineup.
Yeah, they switched it around too. You see, they're leading Luis Robert off tonight. They made a lineup.
Get your best hitter as many at bats as possible. Yep. It works for Shohei Ohtani.
I have little to no interest. He also doesn't pitch deep into games because he walks way too many people.
Yeah, the strikeout rate sucks. Is the only thing going for him is I'm just guessing too. I imagine they're favorites here. Let's see, Rangers big favorites minus 175.
They're at home. They're Oh, so
that's probably the only lean to that.
Yeah, I it's probably like in your same Anderson boat, right? I can find extra money to go up, or Tobias Myers is $400 cheaper, who's been significantly better as like a pitcher. And again, by the way, like Milwaukee, to the Myers point, Milwaukee opened at -108. They're up to -125 on the road. And that just speaks to, like, I think people realizing, like, oh, good pitcher versus not very good pitcher on the other side against Assad. Who's
anybody else here for you? All right. Checking on the questions here. We hit Lorenzen. Our guy Don thought on the Boston pitchers and Bruins pitchers. Well, we've talked about that. We like Houck, and we definitely like Myers as a value place. If you want to go there, you certainly can. Let's move on over to catcher. We mentioned obviously getting Coors Field exposure. If you're not in on then we got Connor Wong here at 44. Jeffers is in the lineup, $4,300 in second against Suarez. Will Smith, if you want to spend all the way up and not a believer in Blake Snell, up to $5,500 makes it. We talk about that a lot. If you want to stack Dodgers and be different, you put Will Smith in your lineup, with Ohtani or Freeman and not Ohtani and Freeman, because those two guys are generally the two higher rostered of it. Now, Teoscar will be popular tonight with the righty versus lefty matchup here, but you could definitely do like a Will Smith Teoscar stack and probably be a little bit more different from the field there. I do like Cal Raleigh. What else are you looking at catcher here?
Yeah, I mean, love Smith against lefties in general, so I like that shout. Love Cal Raleigh's power against lefties. If you're not playing Anderson, I'm absolutely okay with a guy with a 300-plus ISO against left-handed pitching. Really, really, really hard for me not to click Connor Wong at 44. I mean, he's hitting third. Like, Boston not only adjusted their lineup, they adjusted it multiple directions and just.
I did take the over 3.5 strikeouts for Austin Gomber. That feels like a number, right?
I mean, dude, it feels like a pretty good number. Like, again, both of those things can exist. Austin Gomber can strike people out and give up 4 home runs tonight, and it wouldn't be surprising to, I think, anybody. Like, if he goes 5 innings, 4 earned, 3 solo shots, and like 5 strikeouts, you're like, yeah, that sounds about right, because Boston just hit home runs and strikes out. Like,
agreed.
Not us. But one of their best righties is definitely Connor Wong at 44. I like him quite a bit. You mentioned the Jeffers point. Shout out to you, DePrince. I like Yanir Diaz, $4,000. I think the Astros look amazing today against Hogan Harris, because the lefties hit Hogan Harris. The righties' numbers against Hogan Harris have started to come into play. I would say the only downside is the ballpark. But we've even seen Oakland hasn't had a problem hitting it out of that ballpark. So I like Diaz at 4K. And then you just have a bunch of guys that.
Yeah, I mean, you can plug in probably most of these value guys down here. Again, I don't mind Corey Lee against Lorenz in there if you want to go there. Jonah Heim against Fetty. We'll see if there's other value plays. Down here, we thought we would get Vasquez. We got Camargo in here instead.
Yeah.
For the true punt catcher play.
I'm hoping we get Eric Haas. I'm hoping they run back Eric Haas at 3K. I'm hoping he, after a double dong, gets in the lineup again, because Javier Assad has sucked against righties. So I would love me some Eric Haas. If
I see 3 wants to know my thoughts on Reynaldo Lopez here. He's fine. I don't see, he'll be very on the road, because we like the Cincinnati side of this game from a pitcher standpoint. You can get the higher strikeout pitcher with Reagans at the same price. So if you want to be different tonight, sure, Reynaldo Lopez. I mean, man.
Man, that game is just a little, I don't know. Lopez didn't look great going into the break. He's another one with peripheral stats that just scream massive regression. And the Reds are really really good offensively right now. Like I think that obviously baked into Hunter Green's matchup because of how bad the Braves have struggled.
I lied. I was looking at the wrong stat. They're plus 120 road dogs though, which isn't terrible. So
versus a team that was the best team in baseball by a wide margin.
The Twins game gonna get rained out. What's the latest weather report here?
Dangerous.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. It's gotten worse throughout the day. The original report from Roth was that it looked like the storms were going to come after the game, and now it looks like it's all but certain there's going to be an in-game, which obviously makes things a little scary. I don't love that game in general. Like I like the Twins. I like some Philly bats, but yeah, it's definitely a little nerve wracking
Agreed.
with that one.
Uh,
I would say just on
yeah,
that front though, John. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Like I feel better about situations like Philly, Minnesota than I would like Minnesota, Kansas City when Philly, Minnesota is not going to play 5 times a year. Like they're going to play once, maybe twice in a series. I would feel better about situations like that where they're going to wait storms out so they don't have to play like later in the year on an off day, right? Like where you're like, oh, this is supposed to be my off day. Now I have to travel to Minnesota to play this game. Like, I'm okay with like going there. I just think
yeah, I
it's
agree
definitely
with
the
you.
riskiest game.
All right, let's move on over to first here. What are your thoughts spending up at this position? Yesterday, we obviously had discussed the matchup for the Dodgers here, but generally we were kind of like, uninspired. Maybe is the way to talk about the first base position for today's slate. Like, what are your thoughts?
Still uninspiring. It's still largely uninspiring. Even like looking at Bryce, we talked about Harper being the top guy, and like you can always play Bryce Harper. It's fine. Bailey Ober struggled with righties. Like I want to get to like Trey Turner, Alec Boehm, Castellanos trio more than I want to get to the lefties here. So like Harper's fine at 58. It's expensive. I feel like there's better priorities. I have nothing really above 5K that I really want to get to. Pasquantino would probably be like the first name I'd stake my name to, just because like I like Gilbert Diaz. I've liked Gilbert Diaz over the first 2 starts. Also, Gilbert Diaz is someone who hadn't pitched above AA prior to these last 2 games. So we still don't have like this extended sample of him being great. I think he obviously has flashed. He has a really good fastball, throws really hard. But it's Kansas City in the summer. Like that large gaps to be taken advantage of. So I like Pasquantino at 48. Carlos Santana always hits lefties well. I have a little bit of interest in Rhys Hoskins here. Rhys Hoskins, a little bit of a power surge of late going into the break. Homered yesterday. And Javier Assad has just clearly been beaten up by righties. Like that's been where the shift has happened. So, Don, we see your question about O'Neill. We'll get to it, dude. When we get to the outfield, we're gonna like him, but we'll touch on that more when we get to the outfield. I think Hoskins at 42. If you're playing some Milwaukee, I like that. I told you I would not play Romy Gonzalez at 4K, even if he was in the lineup. Still feel that way. He's like 2,900 on FanDuel. I feel a little better about that, but $4,000.
Where are you with Andrew Vaughn? Again, just talking about Lorenz's numbers against righties, pretty poor. Would you consider some of these White Sox bats here today?
Because Lorenzen's been so bad against righties, I'm okay with it. But Vaughn has been really bad. Like, if I'm playing White Sox, I feel like it's more like one-off Luis Robert and hope for one of those like double, like just get
1.8 homers per 9 allowed to righties for Lorenzen there. So, that was kind of the thinking behind it. But you're right; it could just simply be a one-off Luis Robert play. Vaughn.
That one-off could be Vaughn. Like you're not wrong. Like it could be Vaughn. He's $1,400 cheaper than Luis Robert. So at a worse position. At a position that stinks,
I mean, he's not really good against righties either, but it's just like what's worse, the pitcher versus righties, the batter versus righties. So Nathaniel Lowe's 34. Anything else down here that you would take a look at here? Would you look at Locklear, is in their lineup? Or potentially in the lineup?
I would look at...
Did he make it in today?
No, I don't think he made it. No. I would the only other name down here I would consider is Seth Brown at 2,900. And that's if you're playing. We just got the Oakland lineup. He's hitting 6th. Butler and Duhar, Blade, Rooker, Langoliers, Brown, Geloff, Harris, and our boy Schumann hitting 9th there. But I would probably just give Seth Brown a look. Arrighetti struggled against
Yeah.
lefty power specifically, so that would probably be as low as I go. Not like a very
Agreed.
appealing position, truthfully. Like I think you're a lot of like GPP
Sure.
centric plays.
Second base. Ketel Marte and Jose Altuve have the lefty matchups. We liked Altuve more this morning, just going basically all Houston against Hogan Harris here. We did mention Willie Castro. Obviously, that game has some weather concerns. $4,500. Terang slumping a bit, but still lefty versus Assad at $4,400. Jonathan India, Michael Massey. Like, what are your thoughts at second today?
Yeah, Altuve for sure, 5,400. That's one of my favorite spends of the day. Over 1,000 OPS the last month against left-handed pitching. This whole Houston lineup is just mashing lefties. And we're going to talk about a lower tier Houston second baseman soon that we can even save some money on if we're prioritizing Boston. So I love Altuve at the top. Willie Castro hitting third. If you're not worried about the weather or you think this game isn't impacted by the weather at all, I definitely think Castro hitting third against lefties
Valentine's
is
here.
in play.
If you had a couple of three-man stacks for that game, would you consider pivoting off? Like you said, our guy Kevin Roth over at Roto Grinders, no shame there. That man is the DFS MLB weatherman. His most recent thing that he put out on Twitter: models now putting a broken line of storms in the path of Minnesota during game time hours. Could be a late start. An on-time start would mean a delay. So wait it out and hope they get delayed early, because that means they're more likely to wait until the weather passes. It is a 7:40 game. You'll probably, I would assume, know before roster lock, but it's all about your risk management there. If you are worried, then pull it out. I will say this. Obviously, it's better to have hitters than pitchers in games that may be in game delayed. So take that for what it is. You'll probably also get that stack at lower rostership because more people worried about the weather. So maybe instead of a couple, maybe make it one and hedge in that direction, then risk both lineups with that game. So that's kind of how I would how I'd consider going there. Doing a 7-9-2-3 with the Rangers here.
All lefties. It's all the lefties. Seager, Smith, Heim.
Yeah. I'm fine going there if you want.
Leo.
We've been shut down by Eric Fed too many times this year, though. So I don't know.
He's been good. He's been good. Even the numbers when you look at him, lefties like 660 OPS. I mean, unless you're looking at like past.
It took a month for me to stop just stacking it. So because it's like, this guy's Eric Fetty. He was garbage in Washington. Like, let's go. And then, he looked like the dude that won 20 games in Korea. So it just is what it is. All right. Where else are we looking down here?
You mentioned Massey. I like 4,200 hitting fifth quite a bit. I like the Royals. 4.8 implied runs too. Like they have a lot going for them today. Brooks Lee, better side of his split, but again, weather. What do you think? I mean, I have to ask, what do you think of Jorge Polanco hitting third? I mean, like he's obviously been better of late.
Is this the right split side for him?
But I mean, dude, he's hitting 205.
Historic
There's no
split sides there are. Is this the right one though? That's what we got to find out. Let's see. Versus lefties. Not great ISO numbers.
He's hitting 232 this year.
He's better against righties historically. Power numbers way better. Over 200 ISO each of the last 3 years against right-handed pitching. So this isn't even the right split for him.
It's just a tough sell. That's a tough sell. Like Tyler Anderson, I mean, I'm telling you, he just looks better and better as we talk this through. But yeah, I mean, he is hitting third for what it's worth. 3,300.
Do you have an Astros lineup yet?
And I was just looking, but Dubon.
Would you go the 9-hitter Jamie Westbrook and wrap around like?
Not against.
You said they flipped the whole lineup around. Obviously they still have Rafaela probably in a worse spot actually with him hitting 8th. I'd rather Cedon hitting in front of Jarren Duran than Jamie Westbrook and with Roby Gonzalez hitting in front of him. But Westbrook does have Jaren Durant now behind him, so like, I don't know, like not 3K.
I would probably just pay 100 extra for Dubois. He has an 800 OPS against lefties this year, 900 over the last month. Like I would just probably play that. But if you're like full bore, let me play cores, then yeah.
All right, third base. Devers $6,300 versus Gombers, your top priced guy. Where are you going?
It's tough to not want to play Devers, despite how bad he's been against lefties this year. Gomber's been terrible against lefties. So if you want to play Rafael Devers, do it. He's an elite player who is going to be just fine long term against left-handed pitching. He has his whole career. He's hit lefties. So I'm perfectly fine getting to Devers. I like Bohm if you're okay with the weather there. And then the next name I'd probably get to is Alex Bregman, who's another guy who's hitting lefties really well right now, $4,200, 900 plus OPS against lefties last month. So I like Bregman. I know you mentioned Dylan Moore on the show last night. He does historically hit lefties well, and he just always does things in bunches. Like there's never just like small. Like every time he gets on, it's like there's a stolen base, and in that game he'll like hit a home run later in the game.
Not even in the matchup that you
there's
thought
an extra base hit
you'd have it in. This year though, I mean, again, his numbers aren't great, right? But against lefties, he has a better average. It's 235. His ISO's 200 versus lefties, which is obviously pretty decent. 320 WOBA is kind of in line with just like what his numbers are. So. Dylan Moore does have some pop in his bat there if you wanted to take a look at it. Eugenio Suarez has obviously been on a bit of a tear, but we're not going to target Reagans here. Anybody else for you?
I would just look at Joey Ortiz at 3,700. I know he's been bad since returning from the IL. He's been a little bit better, like game prior to the break, game after the break. And I've said it to you like kind of all year. He's been good against right-handed pitching from kind of the start of the year. It's fallen off like a little because he was leading them in OPS earlier in the year. He's still hitting 2 against them. So, and Assad's worst split is against right-handed bats. So I would be okay with some Joey Ortiz.
All right. Shortstop has Bobby Witt, Trey Turner, Ellie De La Cruz, Corey Seager as your top 4 price guys. We said on the show this morning, can't really go wrong. Obviously, the weather is impacting the Trey Turner decision here, but do you have a favorite of the top 4?
I will go with the guy that is hitting 508 over his last 15 games. 15 game span. 15 game span, he's hitting 508.
It's okay. Too bad he didn't win the home run derby,
Yeah. That's the guy I'm going to pick.
All right, 6,400. I think we jammed him and Devers in our example line.
We did.
Morning, so.
We did.
Not to like crap on anybody else. They're all very much in play. I would still play Ceddanne Rafaela just given how good he has been in the matchup in cores and all that stuff there at 46. Tovar is leading off. If you're not in on Houck, he's $4,400. Pena, 39 against Harris. Obviously, as a righty-lefty matchup, we like Houston today as a stack against Oakland. Where else are you looking?
Tovar hitting second.
Second, sorry.
It's okay. The only other name I'd really throw out there is Schumann. And we talked about him on the show last night, how good he's been despite like almost being replaced. 1,000 OPS his last 10 games, a little power, a little speed. Hitting ninth, but not a bad wraparound when Lawrence Butler leading off. You have like the potential of Andujar, Blade, and Rooker to drive him in too. So I like Schumann at 25 as your value shortstop here.
Sure. Outfield, fun position with all the top guys. Obviously, you pick your stack, you can build around, but where are you looking to start things off here?
I feel like outfield's just fun top to bottom because there's some really good value.
We plugged in 2 value plays right away last night. So
both made the play.
I don't think we're going to change from that either. So
one's the cover of today's playbook over at FantasyAlarm.com.
So Mr. Butler,
if you wanna become an All Pro member, let's go. It's code right now. You can go get your subscription and right there, look at that. Scan the QR code right there. No, I always do that too, dude. You have to go opposite what you think it's going to be for the QR code. It's always
FantasyFootball.com/win. Promo code Let's Go gets your first month for less than $20. You can check us out. You can cancel at any time, so you're not locked in. You can try us out for less than $20. Get access to everything that is behind the play wall, including our fantasy football draft guide and cheat sheet. So you got your fantasy football drafts in the month of August. Well, guess what? Sign up now. Become a member of the All Pro family. Get all your fantasy football content needs covered for the first month. Obviously, you'll hang with us for DFS season. We won a guy a boat a couple of years ago. Millionaire Mike took down the FanDuel Millie during the week 3, I think, of the NFL DFS season a few years ago. So we know what we're talking about, not just MLB DFS, but NFL DFS as well. So sign up today, fantasy.com/win, promo code Let's Go. Get access to everything on site, and our premium Discord access is included in that as well. Myself, James Grande, Howard Bender, Andrew Cooper, Dan Malin, Matt Sells, Colby Conway, the whole team, and they're helping you guys dominate your drafts, your leagues, your DFS, your betting, you name it. It's all in there. So the Butler did it, right? He's your cover of your book today because they didn't move his price tag. He's just out here just chilling at $3,500. Man has been redonkulous, as has obviously Oakland. Their offense has been ridiculous of late. And at 3,500 for sure for some value plays. Obviously, I mentioned last night, there are a couple other names down here at this spot. I like Chorio for a value play if you want to go down there. If you want to just work your way up, Langford, 4K. Andujar against Arrighetti. He's been hitting the ball really well. He's hitting second here today for them. You can certainly go in that direction. What else are we looking at when it comes to outfield today?
Yeah, back to the top. Jarren Duran, obviously, as good as it gets. The power, I think, has been probably the most surprising thing this year for Jarren Duran. Dude, he has an extra base hit like every game, whether it's a home run, a double, whether it's both. Jarren Duran's been amazing. 5 straight multi-hit games and an all-star game MVP mixed in there. So love Duran, 61. Love Tyler O'Neill against lefties, 57. Over 1,000 OPS this year against left-handed pitching. We talk about this all the time with Yordan Alvarez. Yordan Alvarez has been significantly better against left-handed pitching this year, and that says something because he's one of the best hitters, just pure hitters in baseball. That's how good he's been against lefties. And Hogan Harris has also been absolutely dreadful against lefty bats. Yordan Alvarez is one of my priority spend-ups today at 5,500. So I don't think you can go wrong with either Boston guy or Yordan. I also don't think you can go wrong with Brent Rooker and his 1,400 OPS over the last 10 games and his 1,400 OPS in the month of July against right-handed pitching. I don't think you can go wrong with any of those 4 names above 5K. When you drop below 5, Byron Buxton at 4,600. He double-donged yesterday. He also is one of the hottest hitters in baseball, 1,200 OPS in July. Love that he's hitting 4th again. You mentioned Rafaela at short, but you can play him here. Refsnyder in the lineup, $4,400, hitting 2nd. He is Boston's most consistent hitter against lefties. But the only thing I'd say about Rob Refsnyder, Boston doesn't have Weiler Abreu in the lineup tonight, right? The first thing that happens when a righty pitcher comes into this game, and if it's close, Weiler Abreu is pinch hitting for Rob Refsnyder. Not like in the 3rd, but like in the latter portion. So if you're playing Refsnyder, you really do need him to get it done early on. But I have no problem going to a guy with a 920 OPS and a 397 WOBA against left-handed pitching.
I agree. No arguments. No arguments there for me. Again, just the good again. He's actually been good against righties this year too, but obviously they have a better splits there. I'd be fine going with Yoshida. Obviously just getting the course field exposure there. And then we have Victor Robles was the guy that we talked about also this morning as the value play, hitting 2nd tonight. Can't even find him on the board. Where is he? $2,400.
$2,400. Sorry.
Guy's been good. He's going to unlock a lot for you when it comes to your lineups. Again, he's hitting 2nd today. We don't like Tyler Anderson as a pitcher. So, The stolen bases are upside is there, even though with a lefty on the mound. Very willing to go Victor Robles here.
He's hitting 390 as a Mariner. I know it's like a small sample, but like this is a lineup that doesn't have any firepower right now, and no Julio Rodriguez. Like they're gonna need Robles to manufacture a run. If he gets on, we know he's running. He stole 2 bases against a lefty in Framber, so don't necessarily worry about the lefty being on the mound. Victor Robles is going to run regardless. Also, shout out to Jake Myers, noted lefty killer as well. We still haven't gotten a Houston lineup. He's another one like Dubois, 800 OPS plus on the year, 900 OPS against lefties over the last month. So just another guy that I would throw into the equation there. That's too cheap.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get a lineup build going. Where are we starting things off?
Victor Robles.
Butler.
Lawrence Butler. So this is exactly how I've constructed my lineup. Every single time I've like gone to do something, I've done Robles, Butler, and then I've gone Hunter Green, Bryce Miller, and that's like exactly how I've started my single entry builds. Where, if you want to just go plug Bryce Miller, Hunter Green in, this is how I've started all my single entry builds. Just these 4, and then I've like toyed with the rest of my lineups because
sure. We obviously liked Miller, but we could go down to Myers, save some money there.
Let's go Miller.
Okay. Catcher.
I mean, if you're good with getting to Connor Wong, we should get to Connor Wong.
Okay. Wong works for me. $4,400. Why am I? There he is. Being blind to him. Don, yeah, I'm good with Nathaniel Lowe. If you want to go there, it's $3,400. That's fine by me. You're getting some exposure to the Rangers today. It certainly can run that out there. Where's our first pace play coming from today?
Let's not worry about that right now. Let's go to Devers.
Okay.
At third. The next decision, I guess, is going to be Bobby Witt versus Boston. Insert your other Boston outfielder, because I don't think it's possible to do both. I mean, I know you can play like Dubois at second, and then probably play like a Seth Brown to like really just get dirty with your roster construction. Yeah, you can't afford both Duran and Bobby Witt, or like Tyler O'Neill and Bobby Witt. So
we did Witt and Duran. Gives you a $1,400 to play. Doesn't work.
Well, if you went to, I was thinking
you'd have to drop down to Myers.
To Myers, yeah.
Can we get O'Neill?
We can.
Possibly. Again, we'd have to maneuver things around. FanDuel pitcher, Hunter Green, Bryce Miller there to Prince. Those are 2 guys for me today.
I don't love the price as much on Green over there, but I'm fine with it. I do like Bryce Miller, 8,600. I think that would be the most.
All right. Well, what do you want to do here? We got Witt in at 64. You said you was locking your guy in 500 batting average. Thoughts on River Ryan from Eric? Yeah, listen, we mentioned a little bit of him in the morning, and we appreciate you tuning in from X over there. Obviously getting called up, $7K. I wish he was cheaper. You know, usually you get these guys coming up from AAA and they're like $6K, $5K, your $7K price tag. You know, Tobias Myers being $200 more expensive, I kind of lean in that direction. Obviously, Ryan was pretty good over the last couple of outings for himself there at AAA. You know, there's certainly some potential for win equity there. If you're making multiple lineups, sure. If you're making one lineup, not for me here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's definitely viability to it. He pitched well in the PCL. He did struggle this year somewhat in the minors against right-handed bats, San Francisco. That could play into his favor because if he's retiring lefties, I mean, they have a very Wade, Bailey, Conforto, Wisely, Yastrzemski. I mean, they have a lot of lefties to throw at him, so that could be good. Obviously, a good pitcher's park in Los Angeles. So I'd be okay with River Ryan. I'd also, if you can get $200 and get up to Tobias Myers, I'd prefer that. But I'm okay with it. I mean, a lot of strikeout stuff in every stop. Which a lot of these pitchers do. He's one of their top prospects. The walks are concerning a little bit. He walks a lot of people, and that's at the minor league level. So if he's being careful at the minor league level, dealing with a lot of traffic there, I would say that's a little bit of a concern. But the strikeouts have been pretty legit at every level.
Sure. Brooks is fine here, Don. Again, we just have to worry about the weather in that game. Obviously he slumped a little bit, but this is the right split side for him. Ranger Suarez has obviously started to struggle a little bit, so you can do that. Also, Astros A stack for sure. You want to, we talk late night hammers in the NBA. You want to get a Astros A stack in the later hours here of this slate, for sure. Can get a little game stack going. I won't fight you on that one. All right, we got 37.50 though left. We need a second baseman and an outfielder. Dubon, okay. 31, right? And then $4,400 for an outfielder. Get Ref Snyder to pair with Devers.
Yeah, and Connor Wong, 234.
And Connor Wong. Would you rather Ref Snyder or Yoshida?
I would rather Ref Snyder. I'd rather Ref Snyder.
Okay. There's an example lineup for everybody getting some Coors Field exposure. Hunter Green and Miller. I see through you saying he loves Adames. We do have obviously the Brewers here in that matchup going up against a right-handed pitcher. So we know obviously that will play, though. I will say he is not at home. That matters sometimes with Willy Adames. So everybody, again, we appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure you come back tomorrow. Why wouldn't you? Come back tomorrow. We'll be live 5 p.m. Eastern time, same place, breaking down the slate, getting you guys ready for some Tuesday DFS action. Again, if you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, first month for less than $20, fantasyalarm.com/win. Promo code Let's Go. Scan that QR code right there on the screen. James and I will be back. Till then, everybody, we'll catch you later.